Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to get a movie by ID. Here we have get all movies. So here we will get all movies regardless of the title or the year. We are just gonna get all of the movies that we have. However, this is not always useful. In many cases, we need to return a specific piece of data, whether it be movies or whether it be something else. But in our case, we are returning movies. Therefore, we need to return a movie by ID. So uh, there must be a URL in your API that would return a movie by ID, and that can be done creating a new URL. So we need to create a new URL. So I'm gonna say here at app.get, and then here I'm gonna say movie. And I want you to notice the difference here. Here I'm saying movies. Here I'm saying movie, singular. Here plural, here singular. The reason why I'm doing this is because, again, we want to be consistent. Whenever you are building and working on an API, it's super important and crucial to be consistent and be meaningful with your API endpoints. Because clients who are going to be using your applications, if they don't get a meaningful endpoints, they are going to be confused. Just put yourself in their shoes and you will be confused if you don't know if your API endpoints don't have meaningful names. So here we need to say movie, and then here I'm using the get request because we are gonna get only a single movie. So I'm gonna say here get single movie. And then we need to create the function that would return that movie. So I'm going to say here def, and then get get movie. Get movie, not movies, movie, singular. And since now we are since now we are getting a specific movie, we need to pass the ID of that movie. Because think about it, how can we get a specific movie from a big array or from the database? In order to get a specific piece of data, we need to know its ID. The only thing that is unique about any piece of data in uh, in an array or a database is its ID. Therefore, in the endpoint, we need to say forward slash and then curly brackets, and then we need to pass the movie underscore ID. We need to know the ID of that movie. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to get that movie. And in the function, in order for the function to talk to the arrays, or to talk to the array, so to speak, it must be given the ID. So we need to say movie underscore ID, which is integer, and then inside that function, we can access the movies array. We can say here movies, and then we can get that specific movie. We can get that movie from that array. So in order to get that movie from that array, we need to say here movie ID minus 1. Why minus 1? Because any array starts with 0. Any array would start with here the first element has an index of 0. The second element, which is this, has an index of 1. The third element has an index of 2, etc. So in order to return the first movie, we need to get its ID and then we need to decrease it by 1. This is a solution. Another solution that I like to do is that I like to pass an empty object. So the empty object would have nothing, would have just empty title, and empty year. And then this object that has an index of 0 would never be used. I would never use it. So the user, whenever the user passes an ID, I'm just gonna say movie ID without -1. So the first movie in this case, the first movie would have an ID of 1. This way you would end and eliminate the confusion about this. So you wouldn't be confused whenever you are trying to get a specific movie. So the first movie would have an ID of 1, the second movie would have an ID of 2, and everything would be perfect. And I like this technique. This technique is awesome because you don't have to decrease by 1 and do anything. You just need to say here movies, and then movie by ID, and then return. And that's it. Now let me go to the browser and let's refresh. Now if you refresh, you will find that we have a new here URL, which is get. If you click on it here, let's here try this out. I'm gonna click try out, and here it says movie ID. We need to provide the movie ID. Let me say 1. If I say 1 and execute, as you can see, I'm gonna get Batman 2001. So I'm gonna get the first movie, which is this. If I say 2, let's say 2, let's say here 2, let me say here 2 and execute, I'm gonna get the second movie. If I say 3 and execute, I'm gonna get here nothing. It says internal server error because we don't have a movie that has that ID. There is no movie that has this ID. So now we know how to get a movie by ID. And again, it's important to implement this technique whenever you are dealing with arrays. In order to eliminate the confusion, you need to pass an empty object at the beginning so that the first element would have one ID of 1.